What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see behind me, Austin's spread eagle on his truck right now, and that's because we're cam swapping it. That's right, it's getting the same cam that's in the ZR1 Corvette. So the main reason why we're changing the cam out is Austin had a really nasty bad lifter tick. We were thinking that it's this guy right here, the AFM lifter. It's probably one of the AFM ones, but we specifically think it's this one. If you shake it, you can kind of hear a noise, and they're not supposed to make noise, but they are. So I think it's that one. Luckily we caught it before it really gets worse, because these are common problems with the Sierras and the Silverados. Even the Ram 1500s, like my old truck, had the same issue, but for some reason Mopar, they like to eat up the camshaft with the lifters, and really on the Sierras and GM products, it's really just the lifters that go bad, and the cam kind of slowly wears out as the lifter goes. So hopefully we got that before anything major happened. I think we did, because the oil looked perfect. It was fine. It's just a fresh oil change actually too. So we'll be putting the LT5, LT4 cam, which we'll put the part numbers down below. That is actually the same cam that is in the ZR1, and if you don't believe me, look it up. So it's not much of an upgrade. It's a little bit of an upgrade, but it's also a truck, and it's also a daily truck, so we didn't want to go too heavy with it on a cam, and then, you know, exhaust and all that good stuff. So just keeping it mild, keeping it safe. There no longer will be any DOD or AFM on this truck. And that's fine, because we will no longer have the weak lifters. So we'll be swapping to LS7 lifters in all of them. That way they're all fresh, all brand new, and they're the strong ones, so they shouldn't fail at all.
All right, so we're on day 2 of the cam swap on the old truck. It's the 53L83 Gen 5. So today our main focus is to kind of just clean everything up and then start putting parts back inside. Yesterday was kind of a messy day. Some kind of learning as we went, trying to figure things out. But we got it. So here are the old lifters. These are the DOD AFM style lifters with the spring. Luckily, none of them had collapsed yet. Usually you'll see these springs fully compressed, which will indicate an internal failure. I think my issue, I was having a really bad tap on the number 4 cylinder. So I think one of the bearings was beginning to fail. That or something inside the wheel itself was bad. So we're gonna be putting a direct replacement LS7 style in. Just got those bad boys soaking right now. We'll come over here to the parts rack. Here's all the stuff that we will be reusing, except for the push rods. Gonna clean up the injector rail. We decided to pull it as an assembly, because I've seen everyone pull the high pressure and the lines and stuff, but it dawned upon us, why not just pull the whole thing up? So we did that, so that way I don't have to replace those high pressure S lines, because you're supposed to replace them. The fuel system's pressured to like 2,900 RPM, so it's kind of high. So you don't really want to take a chance on those B-nuts leaking on you, especially under that kind of load. So, but yeah, so let's see how far we can get today. Last night, as you guys can see, we ended off with taking out the crank bolt. We finally got it with the 1/2-inch impact, so that sucker was in there tight. So today we're going to be pulling the balancer off, pulling the cover off. I'm gonna displace the oil pump to then get the cam phaser and then the gear and then the chain off and all that good jazz, and then start cleaning up in here. Got some nest and all this bunch of coolant. It's a mess in here. So timing cover is off, the vacuum pump is off, so we're actually ready to pull the cam. So right now we got the the chain tensioner secured with a drill bit, as you guys can see right there, so be sure to do that. And we also put some Dicom fluid, some machining fluid, over the bolts on the oil pump, and actually scribed around it. Now we did that just so when we go to put the oil pump back,
it actually lands in the same position that we took it off. So that's the theory. We'll see if it works. It should work. I don't see why it wouldn't. But you can also buy the little, they're like little tabs that you bolt up where the timing cover bolts go, and that's supposed to keep the oil pump in the correct place as well. So we'll see if our method works. It should. But yeah, I guess you never know until you try it. All right, so what did you just do, Austin?
So we put in the Valley Tower oil passage block-off plugs. The V-loam and the oil solenoid shoot the oil up through here to the V-loam, and then that's what supplies those AFM lifters with the oil to expand.
Okay, so those were basically just little plugs that we tapped in. They make a couple different variations of them, but those ones you just tap in, and let's see if I don't fall. This is what he's talking about, the V-loam right here. So the oil actually goes through these passages, and these are your AFM lifters. So your DOD, your active fuel management, displacement on demand, I believe is what it's called. What cylinders is it? One, four, six, and 7, right? So that's your cylinders. I might have had those backwards because this is front. So 1, 4, 6, 7. But either way, when you do your DOD swap or the cam that's not DOD swap, you need to plug off those. And then there's nothing to do on the valley cover, right?
Yeah, no.
So that stays the same. You can get a different valley cover, but there's no point. You can use that factory one. Just save you a little bit of money. It is super ugly, but you ain't gonna see it underneath the intake manifold. But here's the other step that we got going on. Just clean up both heads, so both heads are nice and purdy-like. Everything's cleaned up. And these are the L86 springs, Austin?
Say again?
L86 springs?
No, these are L86, LT1, or LT4.
Okay, so LT1/LT4 springs. Now the factory ones, I'm assuming the lift is not enough for this cam, so that's why we got to replace the springs.
550 rated.
Yeah, so we reused the top hats and the keepers after inspection. Everything's nice and good. And just cleaned up all the valves. And yeah, I mean, we didn't clean the intake ones, but they're pretty good. Or the exhaust ones. But yeah, everything's going together pretty smoothly. So, like I said, it's just a little bit more intricate than an LS. And honestly, we've never done this before, at least on an LT. So, still got a lot of cleaning to do, surface prep on the heads. Then we'll get the cam installed, the chain and tensioner back on with the cam phaser, and then we'll go ahead and slap the heads on and then put everything back together. All right, so rolling into day 3 of the cam swap. Austin and I are both bruised up and tired from leaning in his truck, so that's nice. Got the heads on yesterday, all the fuel injection stuff, the valley cover, the front timing cover, obviously the timing gear and the chain, which was kind of a pain in the butt. That took us a little bit longer than we thought. We saved a bunch of time by not disconnecting any of the fuel rail stuff, which it's not necessary, as you guys watch us put it in as one piece and take it out as one piece. So if you're doing the swap, you don't have to take any of that apart. Just be very careful of your clearances and watch out for things hitting when you're pulling it out. There's a little bit of flex in those lines, so you can kind of manipulate them as need be, just a little bit. But we got it out in one piece, put it in as one piece, and now we're just finishing up all the accessory components. We measured for our push rod yesterday. What they come out to, 7.80?
7/8 flat.
7/8 flat. That's our push rod length, and this factory ones are 7/85s, I believe. So 7.85 is the factory. Our setup came out to 7.8. We measured 2, 3, 4 times just to make sure. So that'll put us right at 1 1/4 turn, which is your maximum preload on the LS7 style lifters. So you guys have seen us do that a couple times, so we didn't bore you with that as well. But all we're gonna do is finish up today, everything minus the rocker arms and the push rods, which will be here hopefully soon, so maybe within the next day or two. And then yeah, then this thing's gonna get a good old tune from Dr.TunEmAll, and she'll be ready to go. All right, guys, so it's the next few days, and finally got our push rods in. Second set, Austin, right?
Yep.
So GPI sent us a 7.85 push rod initially, which are the exact same length as the factory ones, which are too long for our setup. So sent them back, got the correct ones that we wanted, which were 7.800, which left us to a, I guess you can call it a perfect 1 1/4 turn. So our preload is right where we want it. Yeah, bugs are out today. Right where we want it on the preload for the lifters, which is good. So now we're just running them all down. We'll go ahead and torque them, and I think we're gonna try to fire it up today, right? We'll try to fire it up, see if it works, and obviously we still need a tune. So Nate's gonna be over here tomorrow, Dr.TunEmAll. All right, first start. Let's see how she do. Sounds fine.
Yeah.
Sounds a little different. Let's see, oil pressure, battery voltage, everything's good. Sweet. She running again. And all that. Yep. All that's from us fingering everything out, you know what I'm saying? Jesus frick, that smells. Sweet. Sounds good. How's coolant?
Good.
Awesome. Well, I'd call that a pretty good success. So that's going to wrap up the video. The cam swap is done on Austin's truck. So the new LT1, LT4 cam and springs are installed and tuned by Dr.TunEmAll. So it's running great right now, which is perfect. So Austin can start driving his truck again. And we really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helps you decide if you want to do the AFM DOD delete or just put a new cam in your LT engine. So I'd say the hardest part was probably doing the timing set. Kind of a pain because you can't see the bottom gear versus the cam gear. So you gotta make sure everything is lined up before you even start, which we did, but it was just double checking and reassuring that our timing was set and correct. So getting the chain off without taking the pan off and the pump is kind of a pain, but we got it done, and now she's running great. So like always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing. We'll see you in the next episode.